We're here with this division officer. I said I was going to get this right. Division officer Abubakar Sadiq Ahmed. Welcome, sir. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. We are also here with group officer. I hope I had that right. Group officer. Yes. Angela, beg your pardon, Agume. Welcome to the show as well. And I can't forget you, sir. Assistant division officer as well, Anthony Bampo. Gentlemen and lady, welcome again. It's good to have you. Today's convo, we have a lot of things to talk about. Yes, and I put it into two categories: home, and then the recent trends of market fires as well. And it's very important to young people because most of our friends are into the thrift business. Most of our viewers and our audience are heavily engaged in selling also at market centers. Recently I took a walk at Cantamanto, and I couldn't believe the number of people who would just reach out and go like, J3 music, hey, J3 music, and I was like, oh wow, we are being watched, so they are there. And that means equally they were also affected by some of these fires and the ones that have happened around. So we'll have these two conversations from the home to the market centers. And like I said, viewers, it's also very important for us to pay close attention to this, because sometimes you might think that some of these hazards are so far away from you until you find yourself in that moment. Do you even know how to operate a fire extinguisher? I'm a victim. I have two in my house, but if you ask me to show you how to deploy it now, it will be a problem. And I'm hoping today I can learn a thing or two from this conversation we're going to be having. But let's go into the home first. A very important place, a place where we all go to every single day, and we play around with things that, and when I say play around, I mean we use things that can easily either cause fires or either be part of the value chain of fires when it erupts. Thank you very much. So I want to find out, from your experiences and from what you know, what are the basic causes, the most popular causes of home fires? Yes. Okay.
Yeah. Good morning once again.
Good morning.
Yeah. See, fire is a good servant, but a very bad master. So you always have to prepare against it. Mm-hmm. See, when we look at most of our fires that we normally attend, fire calls, are from homes. Most are from homes. We call it domestic fires.
Okay.
Yes, they are from home. And the major causes of fire has to do with, when we break it into four. The first one being ignorance. We engage in activities that we don't know that these activities might lead to fire. So we continue doing it. And the second one is also, let's say, negligence.
Okay.
Or carelessness. Because we know, but we still continue to engage in those activities, and it will lead to fire, and it will cause destruction. And there's the third one too, has to do with accidents.
Okay.
This thing might lead to fire, and you've done all that you could, but it occurred. So that one we consider it as an accident.
Yes.
And we have arson, which is you intentionally set fire. Maybe you are quarreling with your siblings on a particular property who owes it, and you want all of us to lose it once and for all.
Which is very typical of us and our attitude.
You just put fire.
All of us will lose.
We all lose it.
Yes.
Yeah. But with all this, you can easily prevent it because there are activities that you engage in. You can through those activities, you can prevent the occurrence of these domestic fires. First one being our electricity. We always use electricity. That one there, you can't wake up a day from morning to evening without electricity. We use it. And there are some activities that we engage in that can lead to fire. For example, overloading of our sockets.
Hey.
Our sockets.
You see, I turn my head to look at somebody.
It's always overloaded. And you see,
I have video evidence.
And this overloading is not only about plugging many equipment on one extension board or one socket.
Yes,
that's not the only overloading. You know, the kind of power the equipment absorbs.
Yeah.
If it exceeds the source of power, definitely you've overloaded it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, this is our wiring. Some of us, our homes, we use only 1.5 mm to wire the whole house.
Thank you for raising this conversation.
I think it's not all that good, because certain equipment absorb power that cannot even pass through
those 1.5
mm, especially with those who use air conditioners.
Mm-hmm.
The air conditioner, even the wiring for air conditioner should even be separate.
Mm-hmm. That
one should be from 5 mm and above. But our normal sockets, we can use the 2.5 mm, no problem. But with air conditions, we need a higher.
Because a lot of electricians do not educate, homeowners on some of these things. So you just feel like any cable can work.
That's why we always advise you seek the the help of professional electricians. Yes. And our homes too, some of our wiring is wired, so you can say they did the wiring in 69. And now the wires are all weak.
Yes.
And we keep on expanding the house. Maybe our parents started with just a chamber and hall.
Mm-hmm.
And as we are growing, we are also building. You see that we are extending the wiring, and it's not all done at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
So definitely there will be some breakage around. So all these things we need to be checked. We need to check our wiring. And also for the kitchen side, I'll leave it to my lady. And
yes, there's a video I'll play to you for us to look at and tell us what to do in such instance. And I think it's a perfect conversation that would help us to understand kitchen hazards, some of these fires that happen in the kitchen.
Yes.
But anyway, like you're saying.
So, and also, normally when we use such equipment and we finish and we put them off, we do leave them on the sockets. You might not know your socket is faulty, and you leave and go, and it might be still the power might be flowing through the equipment whilst you are not around.
Mm-hmm.
So what we advise is anytime you are leaving home, make sure you unplug all the equipment from their power source before you leave. If possible, and you have a where you can at least the main switch where you can switch it off, so that there's no flow of power to your room, I think is best. But we those who use fridges sometimes, and some of us too, I'm going for 2 hours.
Mm-hmm.
I'll come soon, so I want my room to chill before I come. Then you put on the air conditioner and go. You might come back and meet what you don't expect. So make sure always before you put the air conditioner, you are around. So if there's anything or any fault on the air conditioner, you can detect it easily and put it off easily. So, but with the rest, I'll let my mother to talk about the kitchen.
Yes. So let me show you this video quickly, and then let's probably start our conversation from there. Now, these are very basic things that can happen in a kitchen. So the video we're about to show on the screen now is someone whose gas cylinder just I think it popped out because it wasn't properly secured. Okay, first off, in the post on this video, it was written that they were even lucky that there was ventilation, so the gas was sort of escaping. But things are about to get worse in the video. You see in the next couple of I think minutes. So in a situation like this, what do you do? So you notice later on that 2 people would walk in to try and I don't know whether they were trying to hold the pipe, yes, because it has stopped. So they came in, and just when they tried to fix it, from nowhere, look at that. Fortunately, nobody was injured in this video, as confirmed. So that's how come we are even able to show it. It looked like the cylinder was, probably done. But in such a case, what do you do? And that's where I want to start this from, because it looked like the fire came from somewhere from the kitchen. Yeah. How do you attend, or how do you manage such situations? Because this is something that can happen to anybody at any time.
Good. With such situation, you see that we advise always the cylinder should be outside. It should be at a place where the ignition source will not be closer. And here is the case that already it is there, and the pipe, or let me say the hose, got torn. So it's flowing, and they are on our way.
Yeah.
So in such a way, when you come in, the best thing to do, if they would have known, is to close the kitchen door. First. So I've closed the kitchen door, because you were cooking there.
Okay. Yes.
And now the gas has already occupied the space there. Yes. So you should have, but because they are not aware, and they don't know the time that it happened, that's why they couldn't. They should have closed the door. So because if they close the door, they have broken the ignition source, and then close the gas.
Is there any way to manage a valve that is open, that gas is just leaking? What do you do in such an instance? Let's assume that you meet such a situation at home. Do you, because I mean, for example,
if the valve is damaged,
do you allow the gas to just all escape?
Yes, you have to take it to an airy place, an open space, so that at least it can listen, or you can be pouring water.
Okay.
You see, when you are mixing it with water, it becomes moist, so the gas will not be all that strong.
Sorry, where do you pour the water, please?
Is that?
You say you can be pouring water, so I'm only finding out where
the gas is coming out.
So you pour water on it.
Yeah.
Oh,
if you want to be safe, something like this, if you have a barrel of water, you can just turn it and put it inside.
Okay.
I think this happened to me earlier this year. My cylinder, I have a small cylinder as well, and it caught on fire because I think there was something wrong with the valve. But I had a fire extinguisher, so I was inside, and I saw the whole place go really bright, right, red, and then I went, and then it was on fire. So usually when it happens, you're scared, because you wouldn't be able to think coherently in that moment. So what I did was try to douse it with water, and it's still flared up even more. So I had to grab it with my hands, take it outside, and throw the cylinder out, come and grab the fire extinguisher, because the day I bought it, the fire personnel actually run me through how to use it. So, but I completely forgot how to use it in that moment, because the fire was really bright,
which is very normal actually in most cases.
Yes. In this case, it's already on fire. You get me? But what I'm talking about is when you've seen the gas leaking, and you want to take a further step in order to avoid it, because you might be thinking that the gas will stay around you, it might travel and get ignition from far. So but when it's on fire, that one you can use the extinguisher, or if you have a blanket, you cover the source of the edge, and when you cover it, at least it can go off.
Electrical for fires caused from electrical are there any processes to follow? Just like how you mentioned that for the cylinder, since we're still talking domestic. If I chance upon maybe something burning at home with maybe it's an electrical socket that's melting, I witness it, what do I do to prevent?
The first thing you do is to cut the power source.
Okay.
Because you don't start fighting the fire whilst there's power. That's why sometimes when we go to fire, people start shouting, hey, they are there, they are not fighting the fire, they are not. No, because
A convo that will come
we
to-
see flame and we see smoke, we know what is burning and what is involved.
Is
So
it
if
by
I
the color of
the color, yes.
Okay.
If I see the color and I know that if some chemical is involved, I know. If the electricity is involved, I know. So if I've seen that electricity is involved and I work with water, so I will tell you that until the power cut source is cut, I won't attempt fighting it because I might lose my life, and you will be forcing. You see that it happened somewhere where some guys lose their life. They got electrocuted because they were trying to prove hero. We were saying that no, wait until the power is cut, and they said no, we can do it.
Please educate us on these color, differences. I know it's probably trade to the career, but at least so that people can also know. So that when I see blue flame, I don't just jump and say, "Hey, move from because these are some of my reactions.
We know the normal flame is between yellowish to creamy color.
Yes.
And immediately you see that color changes, you know that there's danger there.
I mean, yes.
So when you see the blue with some sparkles,
yeah.
you should know that there's a presence of electricity.
Okay.
So you should be careful. So then just avoid it.
These are no, what you just said is very important for public hearing, in the sense that people always assume that the Ghana National Fires will get there and then they're not doing anything, like you just rightly said, because sometimes you have to read and understand the situation. What processes do you go through? I know I've left the house, but I'll come back to the kitchen. But what do you go through when you reach a point, or when you get the call that there's a fire outbreak somewhere? I don't know if I can pick that from your end.
Okay, thank you. When we receive calls
Yes.
that there's fire somewhere, we have a team that moves there with our tender. And then on reaching there, we don't just go and tackle the fire. We wait, assess before our firemen will even enter. As my boss said, if it is an electrical fire, the ECG people are made to cut off the lines so that we can tackle the fire. When we get there, first we do rescue.
Okay.
We always make sure there's nobody in there before we even start throwing water onto the fire. So when we get there, we have everybody, we have about a crew of 7 or 4, and everybody is detailed
To what he or she
what
must.
the person is supposed to do. We have BA wearers, we have the frontliners, that is the one who is supposed to use the nozzle to fight.
Which we all assume all 7 of them are supposed to use the nozzle to
Yes.
fight.
So we have even messengers on the fire ground. You see someone going up and down giving command. And we have people who support the frontliners to also fight the fires. So we have all sorts of things when we get to the fire scene. And then before, as my boss said, even when you get there, to even fight an electrical fire or a gaseous fire, you have to make sure that you have all the equipment. We don't just go there and throw water. We don't just go there and use foam. We have foam concentrate on the appliance that we use in fighting all the types of fires when we get to the fire.
Could you wanted to
Because you
ask?
mentioned foam.
Okay.
Sorry.
Let it go.
Because you mentioned foam, right? I once saw a fire, right? And before the fire service could come, the people around did foamy or soapy water using detergent, right? I just want to ask how
Clarity
that
on
works.
that.
Yes, just to be clear on if it's efficient or
to answer you on that, I'll say that you see, we have classes of fire. We have classes. So there's a class of fire that we use foam. You get me? You know, the foam is just, it forms like a cover on the surface, because fire involves 3 items. What is burning, the air, and also heat. So normally when it is just a class A fire, normal items, these solid items burning, we just use water, because that one is the heat that we break. When we stop the heat, it will it will automatically extinguish. But if it involves something like petrol, let's say, or a solid that can melt into liquid, let's say plastics and others, we need the foam. So that we'll put the foam will go and break between the air and the burning item. Because immediately you use water, because water is heavy, water will rather go and settle at the bottom, and the oil or the petrol will come to the surface, and then it continue burning. But when you use foam, it will cover the surface and it will break the air from getting to the heat and the fire. So what they did, yes, because they normally see foam out of our hoses sometimes, so they also use that idea today. But we know where to apply foam and where to use only water.
Okay.
Thanks
for the clarity.
Yeah, my question was, because you touched on resource and roles, when the fire service is called upon to attend to a fire. I want to ask about the resources. Firstly, how does the fire service prioritize resources, resource allocation when it comes to, say, multiple incidents, right? And what are the contingency plans that you put in place to ensure, especially when your resources are stretched thin?
Normally what we do is, like she said, when the first, we call it the base pump, when the first respondent move to the scene, and when they get to the scene, they assess the situation. If they like, even from far, they'll start assessing, the officer in charge will start assessing from far to see whether the smoke he's seeing and the flame he's seeing, his water content can't extinguish it.
Okay.
Or his men can fight it, because we have more outlets. It's not only one outlet. We have about 4 outlets that you can lay hoses through one, whilst others are fighting here, others too are fighting here. But if it's a type of fire that can spread, let's say wooden structures, multiple wooden structures, or at a market fire, you see that it can spread faster because most of the structures are wooden. Therefore, you need extra tender or extra firefighters to at least stop somewhere so that we can stop the spread. So when our resources is managed this way, when you get there and you see that your men cannot, you call for additional pump. That's where the problem comes. Because when we call, the fire stations are not close by or they are not closer. So sometimes it can take 10 minutes or 5 minutes for the next available station standard to reach the place. So whilst you are doing it, because you also use multiple outlets, the water content might not be able to extinguish it totally before the next one arrives. So that's why sometimes our water gets finished before the next pump arrives, and they will say that they came without water.
Because you mentioned
Lenny.
Sorry, Jay. Because you mentioned proximity of the fire station to wherever the fire is burning, right? What I told you about the people using foam before the service people got to them, it happened in Abilinkwe. Now there's a fire station really close, but they couldn't get to the place on time. We were told that there was no water, so they had to call on another fire station before they could get there. So
I think about water matter. When you call a fire station and they tell you that there's no water, I will never believe it.
We've heard these stories over and over again.
You see, it's a perception that we are already having, and we still don't want to leave that situation. For us, even in our station, there's a hydrant where we refill our tank.
So I find it.
So how can we say that we don't have water? And also, if there's no water in the tender, then meaning it is useless. Therefore, we have to book it out of commission. Meaning,
how do you mean?
Out of commission means it cannot work.
Okay.
Because water is the weapon that we are going to use, and now there's no water. So
why would you drive to the venue?
Even if it is faulty, still there's water inside, because we always make sure we have water. Even this time that we even have quota system where water, especially some areas on Wednesdays and Sundays, water doesn't flow. Still, we try to get water.
So how about in the situation where there are faulty cars and so you probably cannot move? Is only one car assigned per service station?
It's one car assigned to a station.
Okay.
Because even we have stations who don't even have car.
Really?
Yes.
Wow.
Because when it comes to the tenders, because of its expensive nature, it's not every station that's gotten it. And also, it can be faulty. So when it's faulty, when there's fire, we look at the proximity and look at the station that is also closer than they are dispatched.
Yeah. In the defense of the fire service, I mean, we are also to be blamed in terms of traffic maneuvering. Where the more you're honking, the more now one driver is now picking a passenger and wants you to wait, and then how you also deal with crowd control when you arrive at the venue. Persons who are already trying to manage a situation where you have, because you mentioned about 47 people. I'm wondering how these numbers will be able to now manage the crowd even before you'll be able to attend to what you mentioned. But just to walk away from that for a second, I wanted to take it to, you mentioned wiring. In our market centers, for example, we see a lot of chaotic wiring. I want to ask, on sight of some of these things, does the fire service write to the appropriate quarters to caution the right authorities on what has been realized? Because I'll mention it. I drove past Makola next to Rollins Park, and to my right, and I'm saying it, my bold chest, to my right, I saw some buildings there, and I can tell you that when you mentioned this 1960 wiring, I'm sure this wire has been there since the 60s. Nobody can tell that this wire has been there just from 2025 January. And some of these things are things that can cause fires easily. I don't know if that comes to your desk day in, day out to caution the right authorities on what you cited here and the possible or the threat of fire to the neighborhood or the area. Because I don't think anybody is watching how people are using what cables or what, and there are very, very old buildings there, extremely old buildings. I don't know how you handle these situations. I know it's a tough one, but
we normally conduct the fire safety audits to the markets, and we give the report to the appropriate authorities who need to take action. But you see, as you say, blacks, we are very difficult to deal with. Seriously, we are very difficult to deal with. We know that this thing can cause, it's a hazard. We all know it. But to solve it, it's a efficiency. So let's allow. Even sometimes I'll tell you for a fact, when you go and you are trying to educate them on it, that should, in case maybe negligently something happen, they don't even mind you. Me, I'm busy since morning. I've not sold anything. Allow me to go and sell. So, and when you see, sometimes too, when you arrest them, you are arresting your own people. You see, your own people. So what we advise is through this channel is, unless it's a danger to you, because you have the property there. I don't have any property there. But I've come to you, advise you that please, let's do. And normally the markets, for instance, they don't engage professional, how do you call it, electricians. No. Sometimes they have the boys among them who you also do and collect 5 cedi, 10 cedi. Because you know that when he calls the professional, he might take 100 cedi or 200. So he will call the Kofi Umbeshema. They also come cut and join. Sometimes when you see the wiring, in fact, you yourself, it's like a dry line where they dry.
And the blame comes back to the fire service.
Which is
I'm so sorry about this, but we have time on this. But let me go back to a comment you passed on the water. But there have been times and moments when people have boldly said that the fire tender arrived at the scene without water. We've heard and seen some videos. Yes. What is the situation on that? Why would it, maybe is there a possibility of a tender arriving at a particular place?
You see,
Anthony, I know you've been quiet, but
in all those
yes.
situations, like you said, in all those situations, it is a bigger fire.
Okay.
We've never seen somebody complaining of a smaller fire that occurred that they came without water. it's bigger fire. And you should know the kind of outlets, the number of outlets you use will show the quantity of water you use, because the water you see there is recent that we have started getting big. Some of the tenders have only about 700 gallons.
That's small.
That's very small, and we have some to 2.5, some 2,000. So when imagine if there's a fire, it's a serious fire, and the first tender that arrived there has 700 liters. Please, so will it take us up to 3 minutes?
No.
So you end up telling me that it didn't come with water. But those small fires that we normally attend, they see water. You see it. So it will depend on the situation.
Okay.
And when seeing that big car too, they think that everything there is water. It's not everything that is water.
So what are the things that it carries? Because I think that
the tank in there is very.
The tank is just like our normal tanks in the houses. That is built inside. Within that, there's water inside, and we have another chamber too for the foam that we mentioned. So it's not only one way water. Okay. No. So when you hear these situations, you should know that it's a very big fire. Those bigger fires, that's where they mention those things.
Those issues.
But with other fires, sometimes they even clap that you come in.
Yeah, we report only the wrongs of the fire service. We are the perceived wrongs of the fire service, but nobody talks about the fact that they came and my fire was doused in any way. Well, let's go.
I want to go back to what Jay was saying about the wiring and the fires. Like if you see something,
leave that to Anthony. Yes, I think I've heard his voice today.
So that there's two questions. If you see something of the sort, what are you as a fire service mandated to do to ensure that those things are rectified? And the second question is, so I was looking up the global standard of response time for fire services. Apparently it's 5 minutes, but in Ghana the response time is between 10 and 12 minutes, sometimes 20 minutes. So I want to know why the response time is more than the globally accepted standard time, and then what also leads, besides what we know, the traffic situation and all of that, that's why you have the sirens, right? So that is supposed to also enable you to reach the. Then
before GPS came in, then I'm wondering how you were finding houses.
Navigating.
Let me talk about the response time before my boss will come in with the electrical issue. You see, with the response time, we are also trying our best to reduce the response time, but there are other factors that affect us. One, the location of the fire. Sometimes the location you'll be given will not be proper location or correct location, and we don't have GPS that when you say no, then it's directing us. So you have to use certain areas, certain buildings, certain structures, certain landmarks to give us direction, and we also follow. And sometimes to the nature of the road. Sometimes the nature of road is very bad. You'll be going and you see yourself at the same place, maneuvering, and you are at the same place. Even if you are giving way to go, there are potholes. How do you move? And the next one too is our how do you call it, our equipment, that's the tenders to are also outmoded. So they can't speed like the foreign country, because they use theirs for 5 years, then they discard it, and we are using ours up to 10 years now. So until we get a new one. But
I recognize that the current president, or I don't know who it is, but promised to allocate some funds, I think 1 million or something too. So why hasn't that?
Oh, but he just said it.
It is a question. It is a question.
Oh no,
it's definitely it's
so far. How far?
Yes. So how is that?
No, it's in order. Even before the interior minister took over, during his vetting, we all listened to him. He mentioned that he is going to make sure he equips us, and we are hoping all these things come, because let me tell you, I'm 14 years in the service now.
Well, congratulations.
14 years, and when I joined, I can count the number of tenders that were procured for us. So imagine you see that I met some, and I'm still using them.
Sheesh.
And the new ones that came into are not much.
You mentioned,
and you see the number of stations we have. Sometimes when you see Abelinkpe, you thought it's only Abelinkpe we have. We have over 300 fire stations, and our tenders are not up to 300.
but you also mentioned that you use it for 10 years now. And then also now you've said that some of the tenders that you met when you came into service.
I said a tender. A tender's lifespan should be at least 5 years.
Okay.
But ours is even more than 10 years now.
Okay.
So myself, yes, I met some. You see, if the thing is not totally condemned, you won't throw it away. We still manage to use it. So some are still in the system.
But also in still managing to use it, that's going against what the global standards are, right?
So would you rather have it or not?
I mean, but if you have it,
that's the
and
question.
it's not as
Because the question would be, would
it is doing the work we
Yes.
want it to do. It's only that sometimes we are challenged with the speed of the tender.
Yeah.
If it is able to get there to fight. Because
I always feel like we haven't
sometimes
been
we
fair
are
to the
challenged with the
service.
speed. And also, you know, some of our public too, when you are proceeding to fire, they say, oh, be sorry, can you be an omoko? An instance happened where,
and that's
where
bad, right?
somebody was called home
Unfortunate.
that something is happening home, rush and come. They didn't tell the person that his property is involved in fire, and we're also proceeding to the same fire, and he's not giving us way. Some also be here, ma, miss be here me. If you are in a hurry to go somewhere, I'm also in a hurry to go somewhere. So I won't give you way.
No,
Until we go down and give you warning. Why? We'll just pass and you go away. We'll just pass. Just a second. We'll go. Give us way. And he agree. Only to come and meet us at his home.
Oh no.
Does the uniform grant you arrest powers? I know it's a
no, we don't arrest. Anytime we need to take searches, and we hand over to the police to do it. So sometimes we see us at a fire ground when the public are interfering with our firefighting, we call on the police.
On the police. I feel Ghanaians sometimes Ghanaians haven't been fair to the fire service, because, and right from childhood, and I say these things boldly because I used to use the Dankwa Circle Laboni stretch, and you see the state of the fire service depot there, even the housing. I don't know if that's where. I mean, it's up until recent that I saw that even the front had been well done, redeveloped. And I was happy to see such, because we have countlessly and constantly been chastising the fire service department and saying and not understanding the back end of all these things. Till today, I never knew that when 4 or 7 persons arrive, they all have individual
Different
things they have
roles,
to this thing, and we all attack them and say, and they just, we didn't. Till today, I bet I say both on my chest, I didn't even know that the tankers were not as probably small in terms of its capacity and the number of gallons as big as it can take, but we'll always constantly say that. Now, even about the hydrants that you source water from, how available are they in the city centers or the town areas? Is it accessible? Because there was a video where somebody had built over it. What is that situation with the fire hydrants in the country?
Okay, let me answer this.
Yes.
You could see that most of our hydrants,
yes,
you see these pedestrians putting their luggages or maybe what they sell on it,
or even sit on it,
or you can find some kiosks and stores which are built on it, so you not even have access to just take water out. So most of the times we find it difficult in locating these water hydrants. So what we know is where we go. Like we in Abelempe, for instance, we know of 3 water hydrants. One at Joulu and one at
is it the traffic light, the Jolu traffic light?
Joulu, you go inside a little.
Okay.
Yeah, you go inside a little. And Mawako, we have one at Mawako. Recently, the neighbors in the area was saying that we as Ghana National Fire Service and a little. The military also assessed that side, so they were just cautioning us we shouldn't come, because when we come, sometimes we do pull out water in the night when people are asleep, and they say we make noise, which is not done. They will just tell us we have been making noise in the area,
so you shouldn't tap the water.
So they call on Ghana Water to come and block the place.
What?
So as I'm speaking, that place has been blocked.
Wait, so Ghana Water also went to block water that the Ghana National Fire Service
uses, yes.
But doesn't Ghana Water also know that it's essential that they don't block the place? Because then it looks like service people
some of these things are
working
a bit
against
legal
each other.
and a bit.
Exactly.
I can imagine.
I was actually going to ask a question on that, because what we've found out today, there's so many other institutions that the fire service is supposed to work hand in hand with like town and country planning, Ghana Water, ECG, and all these. And I think that is backed by law, that, and then they should know that they need to put certain things in place for you to be able to do your job. Exactly. Right? So what is the relationship like? That's number one. The second thing I want to find out is, for the fire hydrants,
we have to learn how to use the fire extinguisher.
The fire hydrants that you were talking about, right? Going to certain places and kiosks and stuff being built over them, and people asking the water company to block them and stuff. Do you have like a department that handles like monitoring and evaluation? Because fire fighting is a continuous project. It's something that you're going to do for a long time. So do you have people that make sure that some of these things that are situated in these places, from time to time you do checks and then make sure that they are actually open for use? Or is it that it is only when you need them or they become of need that you go there and find out that, okay, this is the situation on ground?
Yeah, I'll take this. You see, the hydrants, yes, we check it from time to time, and even sometimes with us, together with the assembly, we go round to check the hydrants. And in every station too, we have somebody who is in charge of hydrants, who normally go round to check whether the hydrants are working. But you see, if those around the area find out that this hydrant has not been used for some time, they think that it's of no use, then they will go and block it or build on it. I've ever gone round to check on hydrant to find out that a kenke producing this thing, how do you call it, kenke house has been built around the hydrant. Even a mosque.
Do we even know it's a hydrant?
There's a hydrant in the mosque. They built it.
We don't.
You see, because they know it's a hydrant, all right, but because we are not using it often, say they think that it's of no use. Get it?
Yeah.
But they forget that the day that the use of it will come, maybe that day we can't get access. Maybe if it is a kenke and you lock it and you are not around and we come midnight, how can we use it?
About the hydrant,
I want to drill down there again, please. I want to drill down there again.
Harry, please.
About people not knowing. So I understand that there is also supposed to be a department that handles your communication and sensitizing people on these things, because if you don't sensitize the people, they wouldn't know. They might see a fire hydrant, but somebody doesn't understand that the fire hydrant is not there for use for a brief period of time. So what are you also doing? Because it goes hand in hand. We all need to sensitize the people. And if they don't know, then if they know, then you have a case. But if they don't know, then
that's what I'm saying, that when we go around from time to time and realize that there's structures on it, we do break it. We even went to a place where the person has built, I don't know whether it's a boutique, and he has cemented the place and put this our green carpet that look like
the grass
carpet. They put on it. Say, but we know there's hydrant here, and why all this? He said there's nothing. I said no, let's remove it. So we remove, after breaking the concrete, we show him this is hydrant. So we have to at least move him from there. So we all want somewhere to perch and get our daily bread. So sometimes they don't care. Not that the public, yes, we are sensitizing them. We have a department that go around. We go around. We talk to them. But if it's just like how lands are dealt with. Somebody can buy land today, before tomorrow is a structure on it. If the person thinks, oh, let me do it quickly before they will come, I've done it, I've covered it. But if we know it's there, we have in our records that there's a hydrant here. So where we go, we see.
Are there new hydrants being built?
New hydrants are being built based on a request, or sometimes to some areas water don't flow. So when they are constructing water, like this, sometimes do construct for us, and sometimes we do request from water works that we need hydrant around this area, then they'll construct it for us.
I have a question for Mr. Bampo, right? I just want us to go back to the market fires real quickly. Earlier this year, we saw that Kantamanto was engulfed in fire, right? Just in a matter of days or a few weeks, it was rebuilt again. We had a conversation where we said that has Ghana National Fire Service or ECG done the checks that need to be done so that again in the drier seasons we don't find another, or we don't have another fire breakout? So in situations like this, do you move to the markets to just find out that you've done the right checks and they can again put up their structures?
Yes, thank you very much. Our safety department move around to do these checks that you are talking about, but I think that Ghana Electricity Company of Ghana should also work hand in hand with us, because we sometimes go to the market without them. Even you call on them, they won't come. They won't come to your aid when you need them most. But I'll use this platform to boldly say that
a request
ECG
for a collaborative
should help us.
Yes,
because we work hand in hand with them, so that anytime they are being called upon, they will just assist us to just cut off the mains so we can do our work well.
I know it might be political and it might be difficult places to touch, but the point she's asking with regards to have the people at Kantamanto been granted any license to operate, an authorization to operate again, because before you put up any of such, you need licenses
for that one. I don't know. I can't.
What you see that immediately the fire,
yes,
even we are there, we've not finished fighting fire, people have started putting on the structures again saying that they are suspecting an arson, that somebody wants to take the land from them. That's why it occurred. So they won't allow the person to take the land. So they have to build again. So now what we did was to call on the authorities to make sure they will create space for us, because this particular fire, I was there. The challenge we had is we don't have the access to go deeper.
Vehicular traffic and human traffic.
There's a structured traffic. This one is not about vehicular, it's structured traffic. They've built on the road. So, and you see that something small for only human, for let's say they leave a pathway, and the tender cannot pass through a pathway. We need at least a wider space so that we can move. So if they are constructing markets, like I saw at the Kumasi market, for instance, they were able to give us the access road where the tender can move. So these are some of the things we advise that the markets should do. But this Kantamanto, because he has taken, let's say, 4 feet by 4 feet, and if you want to construct a road of about 20 feet, 30 feet, which means you are going to remove almost 200, 300 structures. So they won't allow you to do that. But it's a challenge. And we are still talking with the authorities to at least let us get access in all the markets.
We are 90 minutes past our time, but it's good conversation. So I'm just borrowing an extra 5 minutes for us to look at the fire extinguisher and how to use it, because we are all at fault. In fact, most of us, I shouldn't say we are all at fault. Most of us are actually guilty of this, that we assume that we know how to use it, but we actually don't know how to use it. Like I said, I have two, a big one like this type, and the smaller. Hey, they bought the ones in my house. And do we even know? I didn't even know the expires were up until 2012 somewhere when I had a restaurant that nearly caught fire, and I noticed that it expires because when your team came around, and I think your team does a very good job by moving around constantly because it was an open visit. I mean, I hardly expected. They walked in and then they checked on the extinguisher, and then they drew my attention that these extinguishers have got expiry dates. So please get a new one. But please run us through in the next 10 minutes. We can wrap up with this.
Yeah. We have classes of fires.
Yeah.
And type of extinguishers that handle every type of fire. But now I'll say basically we use these two. That's the CO2 and dry powder.
Yeah.
Now that's the one that we all use. If not so, we have even water extinguisher. We have it.
Mm-hmm.
We have foam. We have how do you call it? The helium. That one now is also not in the system. So, but we have something we call the color coding. The color on the extinguisher. This extinguisher was supposed to be blue all out. But because now we are all used to the red, they put the color there to show that this is what dry powder.
Okay. Okay.
And they have type of fires that dry powder fights, and that's what is written here. You can see A, B, C, E. You can see it. So with the extinguisher, using an extinguisher is very simple. It's very, very simple. You know, we have the parts. This is the cylinder which contains the contents. And we have something here. It's called the gauge. You should be checking it. Immediately you fall off the green, meaning
the content is expired.
It need to what? To service it or to change it. And we have the handle here. It's not like a peg. The handle. And we have the hose. All have the part that they play when it comes to firefighting. So when there's fire, we have something we call pull. Pass. We call it pass. Pass here is very simple. It's just an acronym that you use. Meaning you pull the pin.
Yeah.
We have this here just to secure it, because in case this one goes off, it can still secure it. That's what. But when you twist it, it will break this.
Okay.
To break it. When it breaks, you then go to the second one. The A, meaning you aim.
Okay.
So when you are lifting it, you don't press the top.
Yes.
You just make sure you hold from the bottom, so that it doesn't.
You don't press it
to activate it.
Yeah.
So when you pick the hose, you aim at the base of fire, where the fire is, not the flame. Sometimes we fight the flame and the smoke. The actual place burning.
It's burning, yeah.
You aim there. You see, when you aim, you then press the top.
Okay.
When you press, meaning you activate whatever is inside. Then you what?
You sweep.
You sweep it.
Could you understood it?
You sweep because when you gauge at one place, aim at one place, it might be pushing the distance away.
Yeah.
But when you spread it, you can then extinguish all.
So the pass is to pull, aim, and sweep.
Yeah.
Is that what it says?
Aim, you squeeze,
you squeeze,
you sweep.
Yeah.
So it's PASS.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you
Pull,
pull the pin,
aim.
as my boss said.
Yeah.
You pull the pin by breaking
Yeah.
it.
Then need the microphone, if you can just bring it closer. Yeah. Yeah.
I want to assist my boss.
Yeah.
So you pull the pin,
Yeah.
which stops accidental press.
Yeah.
And this is the handle. You hold it well.
Yeah.
And then the operating lever. Then you press.
You press
and
it
then you
to
aim.
Yeah.
The content will come out from
Yeah.
the hose or the horn.
Okay.
to extinguish. You don't tackle the flames, but the down, that is the base of the fire, where the fire started.
Yeah.
The seat, that is where
Tackle.
yes.
Tackle.
And as he was saying that the cylinder, you see these ones are two different ones.
Yes.
This is a CO2, carbon dioxide, and this is the dry powder. So this one, we normally use it in the kitchen,
Okay.
because when you use it on your food, you can equally eat without you being harmed.
Okay.
But with this, with the powder, you can't eat. So we normally recommend this one
In the kitchen.
in the kitchen.
Okay.
We normally recommend this
Okay.
in the kitchen. And then this one for your compound. Anyway, I normally call it a multi-purpose extinguisher. It can do everything. Please don't use this for your electrical fires.
Okay.
This is the best.
The dry one.
The dry one.
Is there a
Because it-
reason, please?
Because it contains a little water. So
This
if you
one.
use it on your electrical fires, it will just give you shocks.
Okay,
Yeah.
so now she says that we can't use the powder in the kitchen, but we can use the CO2 in the kitchen, but not on electricals, right? So what if you have an electrical fire break out in the kitchen? What
Then
happens?
you go in for the powder.
You go in for
What
the
we
powder.
want you to understand is this is poisonous.
Yes.
And this is not poisonous.
Okay.
Yeah.
So normally we advise you place this where you keep
Yeah.
consumables.
Okay.
Yeah.
But this one, when it affects your food become poisonous. You can.
My time is fast spent and stretched, but yes, please let's wrap it up with your point. Yes.
Yes, so I also want to talk about
Okay.
a few things that happen in the kitchen. How we use
Yeah.
our
Let me
gas,
bring the microphone closer to you.
how we use our gas
Yeah.
stoves and cylinders in the kitchen. Nowadays, when we go for inspection, we realize that people put their gas cylinders in the kitchen,
Hey.
one corner, and then the stove is about some few meters from. It is very dangerous to keep your cylinder in the kitchen. Please get a welder to come and do a cage for you outside. Place the gas cylinder in there, get a long hose or tube and connect it to your gas stove in the kitchen. How do we put off our gas cylinders in the kitchen? Madam, how do you put off your gas cylinder in your kitchen when you are done cooking?
I turn the knob.
You turn the knob first. Okay, so we
Which knob?
advise
Which knob?
which of the knobs, please?
The knob on the
Is it the lever on the
Burner.
cylinder?
on the burner.
On the
yeah.
burner.
Okay.
Okay, so we advise that when you are done cooking, you turn the valve on the cylinder
Okay.
off first, so that the trapped gas in the tube will burn off. Then you can turn it off.
So that the tube will be empty.
Yes.
Oh,
Most of
okay.
the times, people don't know that their tubes are worn out or there's a break on it. So by the time you go to work and come back, there's leakage. The gas will be in the room waiting for you to come. So if you don't know, and even at the switch off your light, it can ignite, and then your house will
Right.
engulf with
Wow.
fire. So most of the times we advise that the cylinder should be outside and then the gas stove is inside. Secondly, we now have these small ones that the knobs, the cylinder is on.
Yeah.
The stove,
Yeah. The burner is
on the cylinder.
Yeah.
Those ones are made for outside. Those who sell the food vendors.
Yeah.
But we keep them in our kitchen and we use it to prepare our delicious banku and TZ. When you are using it, have you ever tried touching the cylinder?
It's hot.
It becomes very hot. And imagine your kitchen is also hot. There's heat there.
Yeah.
Imagine what will happen. So I advise that we put all those things outside.
Outside. Yeah.
Stir your banku and then you eat your delicious food
In peace.
in peace, not in pieces.
In pieces.
Not in pieces.
Thank you very, very
Let me
much.
add up to
Okay.
what you said.
Okay. Yeah.
Please,
Periodically,
your microphone.
we need to change our hoses
As well. Yes.
Our hoses and the gas. We should check whether it is rusted. if it's rusted, you need not to use it
It's in longer.
yes, because you sometimes see there's water spillages on it. So if it happens like that, some people do put it on wooden pallets. It's good. If you put it on the ground, you see it rusting from beneath. Like our cylinder here, if you put it on the ground, it will rust from beneath. So you need to put it on a wood. This one needs to be hanged. But in our kitchens, you need to put that gas cylinders on a wood. And regular checks should be made as well.
You have no idea how you have sensitized me this morning to go back home and do a double check.
As well, you shouldn't use phones in the kitchens. You should not bring phones to the kitchens, because if you bring phone to the kitchen, you are killing yourself, because the moment a call comes, the waves and the gas
can trigger.
So quick question.
Like, your time is up, please.
Just one question. Because he mentioned that we shouldn't take phones to the kitchen, right? Is it for only when you get a call that the phone in the kitchen is dangerous?
We
advise yourself, just don't take it into the kitchen.
Just don't bring it to the kitchen.
I'm also asking because of content creators, especially food content creators, right?
Come with me.
Now we're in a time where food content creation is on the rise.
On the safer side, tell them to stop.
People want to be able to. That's also their source of livelihood.
Well, their life is at risk.
Do you understand what I'm saying?
So if there are leakages on the hose, that is where you found yourself in danger.
Okay.
But if there are no leakages, you are good to go. It is not advisable to just bring phones to the kitchen.
So serious.
Well,
I'll add to that.
Yes, and we have to wrap up. Unfortunately,
we advise not.
Yes.
His mic is on.
Sometimes a call can engage you.
And
you walk out. On this, and you leave whatever you are cooking unattended. Before you return, it's on fire. So it's best you avoid taking phones.
We are going to benefit.
But if you know you can't handle it well, it's up to you.
I think
we are going to we're going to benefit from this conversation, because we know we have training sessions with you as well. But thank you so much. Today we've gone 30 minutes past our time. It's good for us to understand these conversations. Yes, Len, you didn't say
it's a birthday wish. No, just a birthday wish. Okay, so happy birthday to Madam Janet Abna Aqua. This is from your son Humphrey. She works at Cocoa Board, so happy birthday to her, and happy birthday to Miss V as well. Today is Miss V's birthday, so yeah,
happy birthday to them. Thank you very much, and we are excited. We have learned a lot today, and I'm very sure a lot of us in our quiet time would, as guilty as we all are, will have learned a lot today and will apply it in our basic lives. Go back home and make sure that we have put these safety preventive measures in place to safeguard ourselves. Thank you so much. We'll have a part of this conversation because there's a lot to discuss when it comes to fires. By all means, granted. We're back at the same time tomorrow on Culture Daily, and have an amazing morning. We out.